Hello, beautiful Libras. These are going to be your messages for the next little while, December, probably a little bit beyond. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you stay. My intention always is to give you information that has the potential to shift your awareness, because the moment you shift your awareness, you shift who you are, and who you are is what you attract. So it leads to a lot of good things. Let me see where I want to start with this. I want to start first with saying that this message feels very empowering and very all-encompassing, and I don't even know exactly what that means, except I feel like I need to say it. At the same time, I am recognizing the feeling of having come to some sort of a completion. This energy around you, Libras, feels one of completion. And I almost want to say, for some of you, you're smack in the middle of whatever the completion is for you, which means you are probably somewhat uncomfortable. And the uncomfortableness signifies change. And it's a good change, whatever the change is for you. So that's how I want to express the feeling I have with this kind of a general message. Let's see what else I can pick up. The number 9 is kind of floating around, and it's kind of interestingly floating around almost as if to say to me, you might need to let go of some things, you know, just FYI. And the way it's coming across, it has a lot of playfulness in it. And this message is supposed to be a nudge about choosing to let some things go. For some of you, it's choosing to let go of stubbornness. I laughed because I've been accused of being stubborn, and my moon, I believe, is Libra. One of the major ones is Libra. So I am often in my head, and that gets me lost sometimes. So the point here is, there's a message for some of you to maybe let go of some things, of some old, outdated perceptions you have about you and in life in general. That's another feeling that I'm getting. Let me see what else. The other thing I'm feeling is that the environment is perfect for the picking, which tells me you have been working on something a lot, and pretty soon it will be time for harvesting. And when we harvest, things are good because we are experiencing the fruit of our labor. So this is a message that indicates that many of you have come so far in order to experience a different version of yourself, and you're just about approaching that time. Except I don't think it's going to happen one day when you wake up and you feel completely different, because I'll tell you what, it would be bloody scary. I felt it. Not pleasant. Your ego kind of goes down the drain. So it will happen over time, and most of you listening to this are right smack in the middle of it. But what it does mean that it gets easier. This tends to get easier. So particularly for those of you who've been struggling a lot emotionally, who have felt scattered and all over the place, the amplification of the feelings that you are experiencing is a direct result of the high frequencies that we are experiencing, and that high frequency tends to bring up things of lower frequency. So any kind of feelings that are heavier, any things from past, things may have risen up to the surface over the next little while. But I'm sensing here it's going to get easier. I'm being drawn to spring of next year, 2020. Somehow it being very significant to a lot of you. I'm not being shown with which month, but spring begins in March and ends in June. So there's a 2.5-3 month week window where you can experience new things coming to yourselves or coming to you. Let's just go with the next message. Sorry, I lost the train of thought. So what is your soul working on right now? What is it that you're on a soul level trying to achieve? Cultivation to me symbolizes need to focus on something that is important to you and something that you are good at. You might be good at something, but not confident in what you do. And I can resonate with that feeling. I have struggled with that, like I've said many times, a lot over my entire life. So it's definitely something that I am working through. So, you know, I call myself a healer now. You don't have to be a healer. You could do, it could be anything that you are good at, especially being yourself, and putting more focus and attention to whatever that is. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's the way you want to live, whatever it is, it's important that you spend time and energy on what is important to you and what makes you happy. Now, why would that be important? First and foremost, when we focus on things that feel good, sends out the vibe, good feeling vibes to the universe, so more of good vibe can come in. So that's pretty straightforward. But what it also does, it allows you to cultivate being more in the flow, which means where you are in the flow, you are less fighting, you are less resisting, right? If we are resisting, we're holding ourselves back. If we are running from something, we're trying to get away. So neither of those two extremes works for a prolonged period of time. So it's about cultivating being somewhere in the middle, finding that sweet spot. And this is basically a representation of how you feel about yourself. So if you can see, this Ganesha is playing, I'm going to call it a guitar, although that's not what the name is. I know, and I can't get it. He's playing it. It just feels natural to him. It feels very natural. So this might be describing for some of you gifts that you have naturally and you are naturally good at, but gifts that need to be cultivated, that need to be expanded on, that need to be, and when I say need, you don't need to do anything. If you do it because you choose to, but not because you need to. It's just a different energy. So this is for some of you healers. And I want to say the word physical body. So for some of you, this message is about whatever this gift is of yours that you're good at. It's on a physical level. So for example, you could be someone who's a great a massage therapist, or you have the gift of being able to touch certain points in the body and release some tension. You may be someone who is able to perceive certain things in someone's body, and but you don't feel very confident in that. I mean, that could be explained in various different ways, but there's a heavy emphasis on the physical body here, okay? It's also about strengthening your root chakra. When we are in the flow, we generally feel more safe. When we are safe, our root chakra is functioning in a balanced way. And when we are functioning, particularly in our root chakra, in a balanced way, we live life much less from a fear perspective and much more from a peace perspective. And so it's very important to cultivate being in the flow, because it makes you feel grounded, it makes you feel good. Also, doing grounding exercises will make one feel, will help make one feel more in the flow. So, excuse me. So those of you who don't mind or have a practice of grounding, doing exercises, do that, and do it more often than not. Okay? What else do I want to say about this? Even here, is that 5 or 3? It says 37 right there. Even the 3 and 7 comes to a number 10, which is completion. And the completion is what I always call as a karmic cycle, things you've been struggling with a lot. So if you are coming to an end of some sort of a situation, it is high likelihood that whatever this situation represents to you in terms of feelings, in terms of how it affects you, if that's tied to any fear-based component or any attachments to your past that are fear-based, then you are much likely to release it at this time. Very, very important. The sun is coming up, which was actually interesting for me to see this card, because I said, okay, why are they working on cultivation? And the sun came up. So cultivating being in the flow allows you to have more clarity. And I'm going, how? How does it allow me to have more clarity? Because when you're more at peace with yourself, you can see much clearly, much more clearly, much more clearly. And when we see clearly, things just go a lot better, because when we see clearly, we have generally more options and more opportunities. More doors are able to open to us. What else do I want to say about Sun? For those of you who know tarot cards, this is a great card to have. It is also a message that says there is clarity coming to you. Again, this shows to me almost like a life cycle, another indication of a cycle or circle, which to me represents a completion. So perhaps this is clarity on what it is that you are completing. What is it that you are closing on in your life? What's the chapter you are closing? Completion. There's a clarity around some sort of a completion for you. Justice is an interesting card, because one of the messages that I received for you is that some of you were reconsidering some situation. You are reconsidering whether you want to be somewhere or not, or with someone or not. And I saw some of you signing a document, and whatever it is that you signed, you then either let it go or you walked away from it. So some of you may literally be signing some sort of a document that marks some sort of an ending or completion. It is not shown to me who is walking away, whether it's that, the opportunity or the person, or it's you. Could be both, depending on who you are. But there is, the message is consistent, completion. Perhaps the document signing is metaphor for you ending a commitment. You ending commitment to your spouse, to your landlord, to your work, to your friendship, to a deal. So signing a document for some of you is going to mark some sort of a completion. But whoever you are, I see you walking away. You're pushing it out and you're walking away. So whatever it is that you're signing, I feel like it's a good thing for you. It releases you from something. So this is fantastic to get, because this is about things coming back to justice, things coming back to balance. You see, well, this is justice, it's balance, is things coming back to balance. That's the best way that I can describe it. And again, when we are more in balance, we feel more at peace. Too much of anything is not good. Too little of anything is also not good either. There's got to be that balance somewhere in between. And what a perfect card to get for you, Libra, because you are the sign of balance. Perfect as far as I'm concerned. Ace of Swords is an indicator of a new idea, some new thought, a new concept forming in your mind, a new approach. This is you implementing a new way of doing things by the way you think. It is also about clarity in thinking. What does that mean? Being clear with your thoughts. What does that mean, being clear with your thoughts? Oftentimes our thoughts are muddled by negative or heavy emotions. If that's the case, then our thoughts get, clouded by our emotions. If our emotions are out of balance, then it'll affect our thoughts. So to me, this represents clarity coming back after a period of discontent. So if you have been feeling discontent for quite a while, chances are you will be shaking that off of you over the next few months. That's huge. That's huge. Cheetah is a sun symbol. It's passion, it's fire. For some of you, what I'm describing is around your creative outlets, so career, passion. For others of you, it just represents this internal drive. And the colors here are red and yellow. Again, red is about first chakra and safety. Yellow is about creativity and creativity. So, creativity. So when we feel safe, we generally begin to feel more creative. More creativity can flow through us because we then become much more of an open channel. And we're much more open because we're not trying to figure out how to ensure our safety as the very first thing. So there's a lot of drive here with this message. There's a lot of sense of security in how one expresses their creativity. If you're a speaker, for example, or you're in a position where you need to speak to the public, but your sense of safety or inner security has been low, then that would have absolutely affected the way you communicate. There's no question about it, because you would have been holding yourself back. Makes perfect sense. So this to me represents movement away from that, feeling safe and secure, feeling solid, and as a result of that, being able to fully express. So this is in careers for some of you. Another message I get for you is the Earth Keeper in reverse. So when she comes into the picture, it is all about making sure you're not neglecting your physical vehicle, which is your body. It is about taking care of you, taking care of your body. What do you put in your mouth as far as food? What do you consume? Not only food, but what do you drink? What do you consume in terms of thoughts, in terms of ideas, in terms of what people say, in terms of what you connect yourself with, information. So there's a heavy emphasis on, for some of you, making sure you take care of your body. Now, is that because they're not taking care of their body? No, not all of them. Not all of you. Obviously, some of you probably take amazing care of your body. But this is for those of you who have been neglecting yourselves for a while, and you might start feeling it right about now. This can represent itself in having maybe put on some weight, maybe even lost some weight because you're not eating, feeling very tired, feeling foggy, maybe constant headaches, or maybe just feeling low on energy. By the way, when that happens, your ability to hear spirit or hear your own intuition will be low as well when you're not taking care of your body, because your intuition speaks to you through your body. When you have an intuition, often we refer to it as a gut feeling, where gut is your body. So in order for you to feel stronger intuitively, you have to be able to feel in your body. And if your body is taxed with stress and anxiety, then you're not going to be able to hear your intuition very clearly, are you? Right? Of course not. Taking care of your body, for example, massage. Having someone give you a massage, paying for someone to give you a massage in order to release some tension. Let someone take care of you. Also, very, very important. Is there anything else? I see some of you doing the hula hoops, you know, those big rings that you kind of, do with your hips. I don't know who you are, but apparently it's a great exercise for the waist. And I actually don't know if it's true or Spirit is being funny. And I feel this is going to be for some of you who have done it when you were younger. And if it is you, remember what it felt like when you were doing it. And chances are it felt really good. If you can get back to that state of feeling good that way, by remembering what it felt like, and by choosing to do other things, or maybe hula hoop, that will make you feel similar, because this is ultimately the state you want to get to. You want to feel good about yourself. So it can be anything, but the hula hoop was interesting because I think there's going to be some of you that are going to say, oh my God, that was me. I loved it when I was a child. Very, very cool. The witness. It's a very interesting message because the witness asks you to observe. It asks you to see from a different perspective. It asks you to detach from the outcome and be more present. When we observe, we are much more present. When we don't observe, we are somewhere else. We're in the past or we're in the future. So why would you need to be observing? Again, 6 and 4 again comes to number 10. Doesn't matter how I slice it or dice it, it's showing me symbolically that it's time of completions. And I feel like whatever this completion is for you guys, you will see it or feel the results of this completion in spring of next year, 2020. Somehow there is a lot of abundance coming to many of you, and it's direct result of the work you have been doing on yourself, your inner work, that will have you see it in a physical form. For those of you who have been neglecting yourself, like those who choose not to take care of their bodies, even though bodies have been talking to you, then chances are you may not experience the thing that you are working. So in order to have a certain experience, we first have to almost like be in a preparation for it. Yeah, I think you get the picture. What else do I want to say with this? My apologies, someone came to the door and I had to open the door. So, okay, last 2 cards I have for you. What is it that you might want to focus on the most for over the next little while? The card of peace came up. Now, I feel that whatever I have been talking about for the last however 20 minutes has been about really attaining some level of greater peace. And speaking of cultivation and finding that thing that makes your heart sing is also what gives us peace. So even in the end, Spirit is saying your focus primarily is how to attain more peace in your life. And peace isn't usually attained externally. Peace is attained through internally. And when we are more peaceful inside, we usually live much more peaceful lives. You've never seen drama queen or king attracting peace. Generally, those people tend to attract drama, and vice versa is the same. So that's really important. How are you going to focus on peace? How can you work with, that being your intention? By first recognizing what is out of balance. So the fairness card is, again, just like the Libra sign, just like the justice. It's the scale. When you're not in peace, it's because something is out of whack. Something is out of alignment. Something is out of balance. So in order for you to have more peace, and by the way, more peace is coming to you. So it's not that it's just you doing the work. You're doing your part, and the universe is the other part of the commitment. So the universe will provide you with certain things to help you attain peace. It's a relationship we have with the universe. But yes, focus on greater peace inside is needed by addressing what is out of balance. And in order to see what's out of balance, you need to see things from a different perspective. And again, in order to have a shift of perspective, you have to see yourself from outside as an observer. As an observer, not one that judges. To observe is to know. To observe is to understand. So that is important. Sometimes we can deal with a certain situation, but then we dive deep into it and we observe it from a certain perception. We see it differently, and as a result of that, the power of it dissipates. So we're no longer under the influence of that control, or under control of that influence, I should say. And again, the number 6 is 4 is 10. So karmic cycle, I think we're all closing karmic cycles. I don't think that's new, or it's not just for you Libras. I think everybody is on some level closing a karmic cycle. For those of us who are being awake, who are choosing to be awake, many of us are closing karmic chapters, karmic cycles, which is a good thing if you ask me. Very, very good thing. And with that, I feel that is all I have. And with that said, thank you so much for listening, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. If you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. And if this doesn't make sense to you at the very beginning of December, listen to it later and see if it makes sense to you. Generally, you'll be able to pick up some information that will ring true to you at some point. And I wish you happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you are celebrating. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself and to others, of course. And good luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.